peaceful shore, very deeply stayed within, sinking to rise no more, but the master of...
Hello, I'm Tina, and this is Coily Girls World. But this part of Coily Girls World is called Godly Thoughts, and I'm giving my testimony of healing. It's for any one of you who believes, who doesn't believe. All I ask is that if you do not believe, that you keep an open mind, and maybe you might hear something that can help you or give you an understanding of something that maybe you had trouble understanding. All right, I'm just going to go and get into my testimony. One day, I was on my way to church, and my church is in the city, so I was taking the train. And I noticed that my leg was like, my knee was hurting. So I just thought that, maybe it's like the stress of like running up down the steps or whatever. So I ignored it. And when I woke up the next day, I had to go to work, and it was worse. And throughout the day, it got progressively worse. And I didn't, I didn't go to the doctor's right away, but I went that night or the next day. I had to take off because I couldn't do my task. If I tried to, I was trying to put the chairs away because, I worked in like a daycare, like a pre-K. I worked in a pre-K center. So, we were like packing up for the night or whatever. So I couldn't even lift the chairs that I normally lift with ease. And it was like, I couldn't do 10 pounds. And it was just impeding on what I had to do. At the time, I had favor with the supervisor. And so she would, let me go with just, doing certain, going into certain rooms and, helping in those rooms or whatever. And it was just very stressful. And this is hard for me to talk about this because what I had to go through, I really don't have the words. I'm trying not to get emotional about it. I just thank God. And at first I went to the hospital because it takes a long time to be seen by the doctor, blah, blah, blah. Everybody know how that goes with insurance and all this other garbage. So I had to go to the hospital, but, they're looking at my knee and they clearly see, like you could clearly physically see my kneecap was like kind of like out of place. And, but they're, all they could do is take an x-ray. They couldn't see anything. Finally, I get to, I go to an orthopedic doctor in this medical center I was going to at the time, and they took an MRI. The machines weren't all that great. You could tell the machines were old, but they took the MRI, and I guess they noticed that there was a cyst in there, and there was something going on with my muscle. Like my muscles were tightening up so tight that it was like pulling my kneecap out of place. So they sent me to physical therapy. Now, I'm limping, mind you. I'm not walking. Like, I'm limping. So, and I was at the time, I was like 35 or 36 or something. I was young. I wasn't, like 40 or 50 or anything like that. I was in my 30s and I was in shape. And I didn't understand what was happening. I went to physical therapy. It didn't work. And, I'm a believer, so I'm confessing like healing, using healing scriptures. I'm going for prayer. And it gets worse, progressively worse, where at some point it was like my kneecap was just like floating. And you could see my kneecap doing this. And they can't find out why. And I was getting so frustrated. I was in massive pain. And, I'm like limping. I had to eventually, I'm trying to go, not forget any details. There's a lot that happened in between, but eventually had to give up my position. Couldn't get disability because they were saying I wasn't disabled. But I couldn't walk. I couldn't drive. What they wanted me to do at 35 years old is walk with this cane right here, or either a walker. That's what they wanted me to do, and they wasn't even trying to come up with any kind of solution whatsoever. I'm sorry, like, if I'm getting emotional, because this is hard. It's a hard testimony for me. And my legs were everything to me. To walk was everything to me because I'm like a physical person. I would play soccer with my kids, take them to the park. I would do a lot. I praise dance. I did a lot. And like, for me not to be able to walk, it was like a bird not being able to fly. That's how I felt. I felt trapped. And I didn't think that I could walk again because nobody could help me. I went to various doctors. I got second opinions. Nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew what was going on. So I said, like, 2011, I officially had to resign. And no job, nothing. I'm in pain all the time, on medication, going back and forth to the physical therapist. I had at that point changed and went to another physical therapist, and it was still the same old mess. And I'm doing knee strengthenings. I'm doing everything that they're asking me to do. I'm not skimping out because, mind you, I'm an active person. I'm the type that I'm running in the park with the kids. I'm that mom that's kicking the soccer ball with the kids. And at this point, I'm limping and I can barely keep up. I'm doing the knee strengthenings and it's alleviating some of the pain, but not totally. So at this point, I'm like, well, maybe I could return back to work, because I had, like, God had gave me favor with the supervisor. So, she would have hired me back with no problem. So I told her, I was like, I would return if, things changed or whatever. So I'm like thinking, okay, I'm going to go back to my job. I'm getting so happy and everything. And then one day, this is around the time that my sister, I think she went to Paris. I think it was 2011. I'm not sure. I'm going to put the correct dates up here because I don't really remember. But I think it was 2011. My sister, she went away to Europe. And I had her dog. And now, mind you, they told me to walk with this or a cane, right? I still had this. I don't have the brace. I wanted to show y'all the brace. The brace was like ugly. I didn't do what they said. And I went to go outside with the dog. And I don't know what happened. I lost my balance, my foot. Okay, now, there's, stepping stones outside in front of your house. Well, I had square ones. I didn't have the round ones. I had square ones. And now pretend this is the top of my foot. My foot said on the corner of the stepping stone, and it crushed the top of my foot. And I had badly sprained my ankle. Matter of fact, it was cracking. I literally crushed the top of my foot. It was deformed. I went into shock, and I'm on the ground and I am shaking and I couldn't even yell. And the dog, I could just remember the dog like just running up the steps, barking, like to get them. I'm on the ground and I'm shaking and I can't yell because I'm going into shock because of the pain. And they had to rush me. The ambulance came and got me. Fast forward and all of that. Okay, they treated me, and now not only do I have to deal with my kneecap being pulled out of place. And now I have a crushed foot and a wrenched ankle on top, that whole side. Like, it was my whole right side all jacked up. So, you know, I was just praying a lot. I just was talking to God a lot, and he was just talking back to me. And I couldn't get to the physical therapist because I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. I was stuck at home. No job, no money. I can't even tell you. It was like by the grace of God that we had a meal on the table. Like, I was crippled at that point. So I just remember God just giving me exercises to do. I didn't look it up online or anything. He just started like telling me like how to exercise my ankle and like to rotate it and like write letters or whatever, right? Like pretend like use my foot to act like I'm writing letters in the air, you know? And I started doing that. And then eventually I started getting better because, you know, my brother was telling me, oh, dude, because he was an athlete. So he was telling me, you know, what to do or what not to do with my foot like that, because it was like swollen. I couldn't move it. I had a soft cast on, or they put a cast on. It was just so much stuff. Excuse me, guys, because it's late now. Because my phone had died so many times, and it's late now. So anyway, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know, you know, like I'm doing what, you know, what they're telling me how to ice it, not to ice it. I can't even remember. I was going back and forth with the icing. I was just in massive pain. I was on pain medicine, and I hate pain medicine, and my body rejects it. I throw it up. So I was like on pain medicine that wasn't all that strong, and I was just jacked up. So I finally get to the physical therapist, and then he's telling me the very things that God gave me to do with my foot, like write letters in the air. And I told him I'm already doing that. So, you know, my ankle starts getting better. I call the bishop, not my pastor, because my pastor was all the way in the city. At this point, I couldn't even get there. So I had to go to a friend of the family, and he was telling me, like, he has a church, he's a bishop and all that. So, you know, he's praying with me, praying for me about my foot and stuff like that. And I started like walking on it, and when I tried to walk on it, I could hear the bones going like, okay, he prayed for me so many times, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a believer, and God has done miraculous things in my life, like saved my life. He healed me from so many different things. And I'm not even gonna lie, at this point, I was tired. And I didn't think that there was help for me. And I know that sounds, you know, the other believers like, how could you think that? But I'm gonna be honest with you. When you go through so much in your life, there comes a time when you just need God to just encourage you and lift you up, because sometimes you hit roadblocks and you're like, I don't see a way out. I don't see a way out. Like, I don't see it. Lord, you're really going to do this, because, you know, I'm getting better and then this is happening. And I was under massive, like, satanic attack. Like, I was being attacked spiritually, and it was manifesting physically. So, even though he was praying for me, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't see it. And my foot was still hurting. It was deformed. I'm limping. And at this point, I'm dragging my foot. And I was on this cane, because I refused to go on a freaking walker at 30-something years old. So I was going to break down and get a walker, because that's how bad I was dragging my leg. Finally, I get put in a boot. And I was put in a boot, and I had that boot on for a good month. And then I went back to rehabilitation, and I had outpatient rehabilitation services. We're going into another year. I can't walk. I can't drive. I don't have a job. And my finances were bad, but good. I don't even know how. I can't even tell you how, because it was like I was getting unexpected checks. I don't even know how or why. I can't even tell you. Like, God was just that good. Like, He's really sustained us. We have food on the table. The kids have clothes on their back, and I can't even tell you physically how. But all I can say is God. Like, Jesus Christ Himself did it, because it was nothing I could do. It was out of my control. There was nothing I could do. So, so I'm trying to tell this testimony while crying, y'all. It's like, I thought I was going to be able to do this. I'm trying to think happy thoughts, but this is like, it's touching my heart. Okay, so, my foot heals, but it wasn't 100%. And I'm having spasms now in my muscles, on my right leg, remember I was saying how my muscle was pulling my kneecap out of place. Well, now it's mad tight, and I'm having spasms, muscle spasms all through my body. I can't sleep. The muscles are spasming so badly that it's waking me up at night. And I'm like, wow, this is like getting out of control. Like, what is this? Like, what is happening to me? I'm like, is this neurological? I'm like, what is going on? So I go to another orthopedic doctor, and my friend had referred him or whatever. So he was like saying to, like, she was saying, now he's a surgeon, mind you. He was a surgeon also. But she was like, oh, he's really good, blah, blah, blah. So what ended up happening was I had decided to take his advice, go to another physical therapist. And it was like every year, I'm at the physical therapy. I'm at a new therapist. I'm at a new doctor. Ain't nobody tell me what the heck is wrong. So this guy, he had more of a sophisticated MRI, like X-ray and MRI system. So I go, and he did his own, I think he did his own MRI. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. He did his own X-ray, and his was like very sophisticated. Like, he could see where the pain was and everything. He's telling me where my pain is, and that's exactly where it was. So it was like, wow, we should. Hallelujah.